tonight, hey, Bill, on you.
We're dipping into my request pile once again, ladies and gentlemen, and today we're looking at The Call of the Void. Woo! I'm sorry. You know, I joke around, I go woo, etc., but tell you the truth, this actually isn't half bad. I'll be the first to admit I've been a sucker for Lovecraftian horror since at least my mid-20s. It was kind of that weird phase where I was kind of done with vampires because at that point, vampires were kind of oversaturating the market. Zombies too, but that's a rant for a different time. Basically, what we had here was a brand new concept that I had just now discovered. It was brand new to me anyway. I discovered it just then and it was like, dude, I love this thing. This is a cool idea. And I just fell in love with the concept. I even tracked down some of H.P. Lovecraft's old stories and, yikes. Okay, look, I get it, it was the 1930s, we didn't know any better, the N-word was used a lot more commonly by everybody, whereas nowadays the only people who use it are in the rap industry. And I understand that even for his time, Lovecraft was racist and xenophobic. And let's be honest, a lot of the other stuff Lovecraft wrote about, we all love The Call of Cthulhu. I personally loved Reanimator, but let's be honest, when you get past the gems, it's very clear that Lovecraft, at best, was a product of his time, and at worst was kind of an idiot. He didn't know that there were no mountains in Antarctica. He didn't know that the dude was afraid of air conditioning, for fuck's sake. But the thing about Lovecraft is, this is one of those instances where you kind of have to separate the art from the artist. And I know there are certain warriors for justice of a social variety who lose their shit when you use that concept of separating the art from the artist, but hear me out, come on now. If we didn't separate the art from the artist, then nobody would have improved on the concepts that Lovecraft came up with, and Lovecraftian horror as a concept wouldn't exist in the modern day. If we didn't improve on things like The Call of Cthulhu, we wouldn't have Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem for the GameCube, which is one of the best GameCube games you can find out there. I strongly recommend you play that one. We wouldn't have The Six Gun Tarot, which is... it's one of my favorite books, and I don't even like Westerns. And of course, if we didn't have Lovecraftian horror, we wouldn't have the audio drama we are currently reviewing, The Call of the Void. It's a pretty standard Lovecraftian trope of somebody trying to solve a mystery. They get into this really deep, occult, sort of weird world where everything is not what it seems, and the more that people learn about it, the crazier they get. And in the case of The Call of the Void, if you happen to stumble across the thing that's causing all of this, you eventually go blind from madness and start becoming a gibbering, ranting, raving lunatic. It's a bit of a trope, I'll admit, but let's be honest, tropes exist for a reason. Sometimes cliches just work. This story follows three characters in particular. It follows Topher Summers, who gives lectures at a museum about things like opium and how ancient medical procedures worked, and by ancient I mean like Civil War era. There's Etsy, who does palm readings at a local voodoo shop designed mostly to scam tourists. And then there's Simone Summers, who's, what's the word I'm thinking of? Nerd! Yeah, that. Their father has gone insane, and the three of them have gone on a quest to try and figure out what's going on, and it uncovers the typical Lovecraft trope of, dark cults and weird otherworldly creatures beyond our comprehension, yeah. Woo! It's a well-put-together audio drama for the most part. The music is great, most of the performances are great, and the ones that aren't really that good are bit players who you only ever hear once in the entire show and then never hear from again, so it's like, you don't really think too much about it. But for the most part, this has been a really enjoyable show. The only real problem I have is, at the time I'm recording it, they're still uploading episodes, and it hasn't been concluded yet. At the time I'm recording this, they're up to episode 6. In fact, one of the reasons I'm uploading this so late in the day is because episode 6 apparently came out today, and I had to listen to that one before I did this review to see if anything had changed and if my opinion of the show would change, and honestly, no. My opinion remains the same, and, well, here we are. I do have a couple of nitpicks with the show, very minor ones. For example, one guy commented that a blind guy doesn't need an eye doctor. Bullshit. I'm blind. Mostly. I can still see out of this eye. And I need to go to the eye doctor every now and then to make sure the calcium deposits in this eye aren't getting out of hand. I feel like I should take exception to Topher referring to the Midwest as a garbage place, but the second listen through I realized he was talking about Ohio, not the Midwest, and yeah, I'll let you have that one. I mean, for fuck's sakes, it has the Cleveland Browns, the Cincinnati Bengals, and John Kasich. Garbage. I don't know if Topher is supposed to be, like, panicked, or if Topher has Asperger's, or if it's an engineering issue, but I always notice Topher is really, really eager to just get his questions out. In fact, a lot of this is, like, Q&A. Like, a lot of the exchanges between characters is question and answer, and if that bugs you, that might be a problem. It doesn't bug me personally, but you know, I just noticed Topher in particular just seems really, really wanting to just get his questions out, and like sometimes he'll get the questions out just as the guy is wrapping up his answers, and I'm wondering if it's done like that on purpose to convey panic, or if it's done like that because Topher has Asperger's syndrome, and before you ask, yes, I have a coworker who has Asperger's syndrome, and he does that all the time. It might be an audio engineering thing, I don't know. It's not especially annoying, but it is something I did notice listening to this show. Despite these minor nitpicks, this is actually a really good show, and I really enjoyed it. And I thoroughly recommend that you check this out. I give Call of the Void 3 hats out of 4. And that's going to do it for this week's audio drama review. Tune in next time when I'll have another one from my request pile up and reviewed for your viewing pleasure. In the meantime, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring-a-ding the bell. Check out Tommy Teal Hat for more Tommy Teal Hat flavored goodness here on the channel here. And I'll see you next time.